QVC Quality Violent Cinema.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Quality Violent Cinema. We're starting off season 2 right now with a special guest, Tony Masiello. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's
awesome.
it.
Of SOVHorror.com. I'm here with Christian.
What's up?
Of course. We're doing the video component finally that we've been talking about this whole time. So hopefully you enjoy our faces and stuff like that.
Yeah, hopefully we're not too ugly. So.
Yep. So welcome, Tony. How's it going?
Oh, good, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you for taking the time. I got to check out your website a little bit. Probably not as long as Christian because he's known about it for quite a while, but it goes really, really in depth into the whole subject that we're getting into tonight. So that was very helpful, especially for my last couple of days of research to have that as a resource. So SOVHorror.com.
Yeah, and it's nice that you go from stuff from the 80s or stuff that's just coming out, you just kind of touch on like everything because it didn't just die, it wasn't just the 80s and 90s. It was like still kept alive for a while. So
for sure, still going on today. So
yeah. I mean, we just did a Degenerates recently, and that's technically an SOV, which is really cool that they kind of kept that around and did a 4th generation type bootlegging with it. And so yeah, it's really cool that they're keeping that craft alive for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Part of what we want to do tonight, too, since you're an expert on the subject, is kind of go over some things with you about different formats and mediums, because there's a lot of confusion in this genre on what's actually shot on video or not. And
right.
It's good
to
like,
what 8mm is.
I don't want to be like the gatekeeper kind of guy that's like, oh, yeah, that's not SOV, get the fuck out, but it's going to be good to educate some people because my whole life I thought Dead Next Door was an SOV movie, and I got told it wasn't a couple weeks ago. So.
And I heard Truth and Dare might not be as well, and I want to ask about that. Yeah, and that's some of the ones I thought as well. And there's just a lot of people do classify it as. I think it's just because a lot of the sequels that came out of it and stuff.
So maybe the first question we can ask you is, what do you classify as an SOV horror?
It's kind of, I think over the years it's kind of changed, at least to me. I mean, initially it was stuff that was shot on analog video equipment. So, stuff that was either shot on like Hi8 cameras, Digibeta, SVHS, any of those early formats. I mean, SOV horror really kind of started in the 80s, but then when we kind of started getting into the mini DV revolution of like the early 2000s, I still consider mini DV to be kind of in that SOV territory as well, because you were still seeing, to me, SOV kind of encompasses independent spirit. I mean, these are films made by fans. These are films made typically for not a lot of money, with people's friends, what little resources they have, they can put together. Mm-hmm. And so the mini DV revolution, like that was really the first time that post, consumer video cameras coming out with mini DV, all of a sudden people had nonlinear editing and stuff like that, where people could actually, you could go buy a camera for $200. And at the time, Windows had a movie making program, Mac had a movie making program. Mm-hmm. You could start making movies like right out of the box. And so to me, like the mini DV was kind of like the last really generation of SOV for a while until SOV resurgence started happening. I mean, I've been a fan of these films since like the 80s, when I first started seeing these types of movies. But, more recently I'd say around 2010, or so, they started to get love and appreciation. Before that, I mean, I barely knew anyone who even liked any of these movies, A lot of my friends even thought I was a freak for liking a lot of this stuff,
Well, there's a couple here and there like Redneck Zombies and stuff that people knew about because those got pretty popular in horror circles, and even like early horror websites had stuff about or Last Broadcast, would that be one too? Yeah.
Well, that'd be mini DV, but sure. Like I said, I count mini DV for sure.
We didn't really do a lot of mini DV in our research. Anything we found out was shot on a digital, like anything more than like videotape, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're screening Amityville Vibrator, and that's mini DV, which is going to be cool. But
so we wanted to do like a second SOV episode too, which you're invited to come on as well. And we can get more into like some of that DV
More into the
stuff
separate formats
and like
yeah.
some of the 2000 stuff too, like that. I don't know, because who were we talking about? Eric Stanzi.
Yeah, because some of his is like it's questionable whether it stands for all SOV or not, you know, because he kind of came in that mix in digital and not digital, you know.
Yeah, he mixed film and you know, video. So
Yeah.
with some of his stuff, yeah. But I guess the other point I wanted to make, just to kind of wrap up what I was saying, though, was pretty much was the third wave, is what I call the third wave, which would be almost like 2010 forward, where you started getting lots of primarily younger filmmakers who were inspired by shot on video movies to pick up a camera and actually pick up analog cameras again. So people like Madeline Deering, a good friend of mine, she made a great movie called The Spirit Animal, which is a new SOV movie. And there's been a lot of other people who've done the same, who are now like actually buying the old big bulky VHS cameras and shooting on VHS again because they like the aesthetic of it. It reminds them of their childhood and watching those movies.
I actually had a problem in college. I had to do well, I didn't have to, but I chose to do a documentary on a band I was on tour with, and I got banned from renting equipment from the equipment loan. So I actually had to use a VHS camera. I was stuck with it. And back then, like in 07 or 08 or whatever, it wasn't as cool. But now I'm so happy I did it because my tour documentary has this VHS aesthetic to it. And so,
For sure,
yeah,
that's cool now.
yeah, sometimes you get people got stuck with that. Like it was kind of a lower middle working class thing. You just got stuck with a video camera. So, but that,
I mean, that's why I shot with that stuff primarily, as well as DV. I mean, I just bought my first HD camera this year.
Wow.
You know, and I've been making stuff for 20 plus years now. You know, I just finally made the jump to HD, and mainly just out of necessity because you can't find tapes much anymore. They're getting expensive.
True. Yeah.
You know, it's almost easier to buy, you know, an HD camera than to buy a bunch of mini DV tapes and stuff like that, which is what I was previously shooting on.
So what equipment
Yeah.
are you using to get the footage from your video camera that you're filming onto a VHS tape? And then do you
No. So right now,
Yeah.
I mean, I've filmed on various things. So I've filmed on VHS. I've filmed on high 8. I mean, I've been making stuff, you know, since I think I started. My first probably short film I made was, gosh, I don't know, probably late 90s, 97, 98, 99, sometime around then. And I think back then we were shooting on high 8 cameras, which is analog video. And slowly moved to mini DV. And I didn't leave mini DV, like I said, till just literally, I just shot my first thing in HD like a month ago.
Those are such a pain in the ass though to get the footage off sometimes, like having to do the batch capture. Or did you do batch capture, or did you like just get to the part you wanted and clip that and then get to the part you wanted?
I'm old school. I capture the entire tape and I go through and I subclip everything. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to editing.
Yeah.
So like I'm that guy who's like watching the same 5 takes for an hour until I pick out the perfect take.
Yeah.
And that mainly comes from necessity. I mean, when you're making these types of movies, these shot on video type movies, I mean, let's face it, a lot of people like them because they think they're bad movies. I mean, you have to address the elephant in the room, which is that a lot of people watch them because they think they're shitty movies. And so they go into it wanting to make fun of them, wanting to like riff them and do Mystery Science Theater with them. And so being a filmmaker who works in that medium, it's like, you really got your job cut out for you because you don't want people to make fun of your movie. You know, you're working hard on it. You're putting your money, your time, you know, as well as getting friends and other people involved, you know? So it's like, you know, I've always had a philosophy that I try to make the best movie I can with as little budget, little means that I have. But, you know, other filmmakers I know, and I mean, and I'm not knocking anyone down who does this, but like some people go out and film a movie in a weekend, you know?
Yeah.
For
I
me,
was looking at a lot of this. It's like 4 days like to shoot a lot of it. It was like, that's crazy.
I mean, I shot a trailer for the Grindsploitation movie. And when I did that, we shot over 100 setups. We shot over 100 setups for a trailer, you know, for a fake trailer. Wow. And I mean, and I think it took us about 3 months to film. I mean, over weekends and when we could get people. I think there was like over 30 special effects shots in it. Like, you know, and it's all about, you know, to me at least, it's all about putting out the best product I can for fans of the genre and not giving people an easy way to making fun of it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, some of it has some charm. Like Zombie 90 is just the dubbing just is awesome.
So
I mean, I'm
great,
I'm glad they stuck with it and didn't lose it. I know it was supposed to be a joke, but it's funny.
Or some of these movies that you can tell were edited on like a VCR. Their cuts are so rough that like when the scene starts, the people are still waiting for the director to say action or whatever, or like,
or you see that rainbow line going through the tape, you know, on the cut. Then you know they really edited on the VCR, for sure.
Or something on the top, like some.
Yeah.
I was watching Quad Ed Zone today. We were cramming the last couple of days, so
nice.
Like a lot of what we've seen is over our lives, but then like I think a huge chunk was in the last week or so. So
nice.
Yeah, and there's just so much of it too, and you just don't realize. Because I was just looking through lists, like realizing like things I didn't realize were SOV. Just going through, I was like, oh shit, that's an SOV. That's cool. Like
brought that up earlier. There's so many misconceptions of what's SOV and what's not SOV.
Yeah.
You know, and I admit it, it's difficult, you know, even for me. I've been a huge fan of the genre for years now, and every so often I run across one where I scratch my head too. I'm like, oh, I can't really tell.
Well, some are like
what happened is, like you guys mentioned, like for example, Dead Next Door or even Truth or Dare, and I don't think either of those quite fit in this, but movies I know, like I believe what's that, Hollowgate, I'm pretty sure this one was an example. Is it's shot on film, so they shoot on like but low end film, so 8mm or 16mm, but then they post on video. So when they edit, they post on video, which helps it almost give it that video frame look, because you're now going to 2997 frames per second.
So would that be like a projector on the wall of their
No, so they get the footage telesyn. So they get the footage telesyn transferred to typically some type of analog media of the time. So whether it's like a D1 tape, a digibeta tape, you know, a 3/4 inch tape, and then they would go there and they'd edit from that, you know, because it's a lot cheaper to edit the video than the film, you know, than actually going in there and cutting up the film and splicing the film. They would just transfer the whole entire thing and then edit it in video, because especially the low budget stuff, they knew they're going straight to video. They knew they were never going to go to theaters, like they, you know, so they didn't need to make a theatrical print. There's no point in it. They're not going to play theaters, so you know, straight to video was kind of the game in the late 80s, early 90s, you know.
Yeah, and was Killing Spree one of those ones that was it? Because that's one of the ones I was questioning on.
That's 16mm, yeah.
Okay, because that's another one that kind of gets thrown in somehow.
Yeah.
And what
Abomination?
About Boarding House? Because I keep hearing that shot on video, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, so Boarding House was shot on video. Boarding House is the rare example of a movie that was shot on video and then transferred to film.
Oh.
So it was actually transferred to film, and then they did a theatrical run. And so technically it's the first shot on video movie that probably played in theaters, which is kind of an interesting fact. But
I actually saw a print of it, and there was a lot of film grain. So I was like, this is shot on video? And I mean, my brain wasn't quite like understanding like the different formats back then, but because it was like 10 years ago or something. But
you might have saw a film print of it, which is pretty cool. I think though they recently finally put out a version with the film print. I had only seen the video version, you know, on VHS. I still have my VHS copy right over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original is like a 2.5 hours, right? And then it gets cut like a whole hour.
No, the original actually. So no, there's some misconceptions with Boarding House too. So long story short, Boarding House was, I think, it's about a 90 minutes movie. The original film, maybe a little longer. It definitely wasn't 2.5 hours.
98 minutes.
What happened was when Slasher Video re-released the movie on DVD, they did a director's cut of the movie. The director went in there and did a director's cut, and he added in a ton of extra footage that was cut originally from the film, which made it 2.5 hours long. And that director's cut is, I mean, I'm a fan of the movie. I like the movie, but like that director's cut, I will never watch that again.
See, when I saw
it's just rough, like stuff that should be edited. You know?
When I saw it, I think that's the version I saw, because
wow.
every time that it would cut back to that computer typing where it's like the whole audience would go, oh, because they all thought it was over. Yeah.
Nope, one more hour.
I think a cut down version of that would be a fun movie, but I think the one I saw was slog. But
yeah, I recommend people. I think there was a new release of that recently that had the original VHS version on there as well. So for people to check that out.
Yeah.
And also, Revenge isn't SOV, right? That was shot in 16 millimeter.
Revenge is 16 millimeter, but Blood Cult was shot on video.
Yeah,
so
but that's why a lot of people think it is, because it's a sequel to it, thinking it's an SOV for some reason.
And the Ripper, the middle one, was that?
That's SOV as well. So yeah, okay. United Home Video, they did a lot of SOV stuff. They're kind of one of the first companies to really embrace that. You know, they put out Blood Cult, which was kind of, at the time, it was marketed. It's not the first SOV, but they marketed it that way. You know, they were like the first movie made strictly for the home video audience, you know. I actually have the poster right here in my office for that movie.
I only got to see a couple parts of Blood Cult. I want to watch the whole thing before our next SOV episode, but it looked like I saw the cafeteria scene, and I was like,
one of the better scenes. Yeah,
I was like, this looks like one of those like educational videos that they show you out of school. Like, it's like the cinematographer they hired was like used to doing commercial videos or something.
No, Tina, don't do it, Tina.
Well, I think a lot of people involved were probably from that type of background. You know, I've talked and interviewed Christopher Lewis, the director of that movie, and yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the talent who was involved in that was just kind of local Oklahoma talent. You know, that movie was shot in Oklahoma City, I believe, so, or Tulsa, one of the two.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the whole thing though. It looks ridiculous.
It's fun. It's fun. It's a little more, you know, tame compared to some SOVs.
It doesn't have as much splatters. Like
some of
not as much splatter. And the thing about a movie like Blood Cult, and you know, is Blood Cult's an example of a movie that was, I mean, the guy who made Blood Cult, Christopher Lewis, really nice guy, cool guy. He actually went to film school with George Lucas, which is kind of a funny story. But he was pretty much a hired gun by United Home Video to make this movie. He wasn't a horror fan or anything. You know, his mom was actually a very famous actress named Loretta Young, who was really big back in the 50s and 60s. But he was kind of a hired gun. He didn't really want to quite make a horror movie, but he was hired to make it, you know. Where a lot of SOV, the ones I really love the most are the ones that are made by people who really wanted to make those movies, you know, people like we mentioned earlier, Tim Ritter, you know, the Polonia brothers, people like this who, you know, they made these movies because they actually really wanted to. Where I feel like Blood Cult, that was made as a product. That was made to sell video cassettes, you know. Where that's kind of one thing that's why I love SOV to me is like these are movies made by fans who have a passion, who really want to tell a story, who want to do, you know, want to create art. Whereas, you know, it's different than the Hollywood system. Like I've worked in the Hollywood system, and the Hollywood system is all about money, 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 money. You know, these people don't give a flying fuck. Sorry, excuse my language. I don't know if I can cuss.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you can fuck.
This is extreme.
People don't give a damn about making a good movie. They really don't. You know, it's all about how many butts can we get in the theater. You know, how many tickets can we sell. So, you know, and I don't want to discourage, like I said, a Blood Cult or Christopher Lewis. He's a great guy and it's a great film. But you know, to me, there's kind of two camps of SOV. You got your movies that are made strictly just to make money, and then you have your movies that are actually made by, in a sense, authors and visionaries who actually want to tell some kind of story, you know.
So what do you think about The Ripper then? Since Tom Savini is embarrassed by that film.
Yeah, Tom Savini hates that movie, which makes me like it more. Because anyone who's met Tom Savini knows the guy's kind of not very nice to his fans.
Takes himself really seriously.
But hey, teach their own. I mean, but I met him a few times. He was never nice to me, so I don't.
Oh, really?
I don't feel bad saying that. But and I'm pretty sure I probably mentioned The Ripper. It probably did not help.
What was he like? Yeah. Was there something about him being tricked into making or being in that film because he thought it was something else, like another project, and then?
I'm not sure about that. All I know is originally they had hired him, you know, just to do a few days, and he shot a few days. And they did that typical Roger Corman thing where you shoot a big actor for a couple days and you sprinkle it throughout the film to make it seem like they're the star. So I don't think Savini originally thought he was probably going to be plastered all over the poster and all that stuff.
Right.
Maybe that has something to do with his disdain for that film.
Did you get to see
Personally, I think that film's actually a lot of fun. It's a little over long. I mean, once again, they could have cut 15 minutes out of that movie.
Yeah,
but it's got some great gore. The story's kind of fun. I mean, I think it's well executed. I really enjoy The Ripper.
Did you get to see that music video they did for it?
The music, I think I have seen it. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Really
I think that was
corny,
on
like
the DVD they put out on it.
Yeah, they were using it looked like one of those public access TV editing suites to do all the transitions
video toasters,
and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember the director, because I watched some of the features about that, and the director was just like, it did really well in Japan. They just love that music video. I don't know why.
That's funny.
Such a random thing to do well over there.
I definitely think one of the biggest labels that I'm a big fan and they get into, I think most people know, is the Camp Motion video. I think they kind of became just a big staple. And in releases, I mean, you got Video Violence, Spider Farm, Cannibal Campout. Yeah, there's just so many good legendary stuff. I even loved the Basement. It was almost Tales from the Crypt but done in SOV. I like that a whole bit.
Oh, gotcha. So you're talking Camp Motion Pictures.
Pictures, sorry.
So that was the DVD company by Mike Grasso. Yeah. I thought you were talking about actual Camp Video, which also.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. No. There's Camp Motion. Yeah, Camp Motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Camp Motion Picture release any Camp Video movies?
Yeah, so Camp Video.
Cannibal Campout and stuff.
Yeah, no, Camp Video originally put out Video Violence 1 and 2. They also put out Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, quite a few different movies, some Ray Dennis Steckler films, Death Row Diner, which is another really cool SOV, and then Camp Motion Pictures, which is run by the guys who did Alternative Cinema, EI, Pop Cinema. They have 50 names. They started Camp Motion Pictures and started re-releasing all that stuff on DVD. Which, I mean, to us fans, it was wow, you can get Video Violence on DVD now.
Yeah, I used to have that.
A lot of this stuff was getting released again after being out of print for years. I mean, we were all stoked to, be able to own the Zombie Bloodbath trilogy, on it.
I saw on eBay that Video Violence sold for $400 on the original VHSs recently. I was like, that's crazy.
It's ridiculous with the VHS costs. I mean, when I was buying these, you could buy Video Violence for $15. I mean, they're so expensive now.
Or 25 cents if you found the right pawn shop.
I'll show you guys this one. I pull it out real quick.
I bought a whole box of the rarest tapes you could ever think of.
Know this tape. It's probably my rarest tape I own. So.
Oh, nice!
Oh,
wow! Yeah, it's crazy how those go up to now. Then they go up to a couple thousand.
This is a shrink wrap copy too.
Oh, nice.
So I actually worked on
still shrink wrap
DVDs for that. Yeah.
Wow.
I worked with Massacre Video. I co-produced and edited the Tales from the Quaded Zone, Return of the Quaded Zone documentary that's on those DVD sets.
Oh, okay.
So, which was really cool. That's actually how I got that. Is Lewis sent me a copy of that. So.
Yeah, I have that dual thing that they came out with the Black Devil Doll from Hell, and that one. That one's awesome. I love that set. It's a cool set. I also have that big box. I think you can kind of see it back there. It's the Basement VHS combination.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that one's really cool. But
yeah, the Basement, that was a cool box set too, because they put out some cool SOV. Obviously, Basement's not SOV, but that was the first release of that, and it's a cool movie. I really like that movie. But then they put, what was it? That was the first time they released Captives on DVD.
Yeah, no,
Captives is Cohen, cool. From the Video Violence guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that was the first time I ever saw Captives, because you would, AKA Mama's Home for people who know under that title.
Yeah.
And, I mean, because that VHS was so rare. I never saw that.
I've never heard of that movie. What's it about?
It's pretty much about this family who, I don't want to say too much. You got to watch the movie. It's actually pretty good.
And it's the guy that did Video Violence?
It's the Video Violence guy, yeah.
Is it as fucked up as that movie?
That's why I don't want to really say much, because I think you should check it out. It's a fun movie. It's in that Basement set.
Yeah, I'll let you borrow it.
I was going to say earlier, Video Violence and a few other ones in these SOV movies, they really take it to extremes some of them before like extreme horror was even that big, and because I feel like extreme horror got pretty big in the 90s. It's in the 80s you had stuff like Necromantic and a few random things from Germany and stuff, but to see like American SOV movies like Video Violence and Splatter Farm that take it that extra step and add weird taboo subjects like snuff and incest and have splatter and actual entrails and stuff, like those movies have a really dark and cruel feel to it that I love.
Like Todd Sheets and like when his early stuff. I mean, and he kind of stopped doing the whole video stuff and doesn't, claim it as much as he used to, but kind of wish he did though. Some of that other stuff is really cool, the 90s stuff.
We're actually about to put out one of Todd Sheets' first movies he ever made called Misty Darkness. It's actually going to be coming out in March. And it was made in, I think he started in 86, finished in around 88. And
cool.
And so we're about to put that out. He actually had to revamp it a little bit to kind of fill it out a little bit. But yeah, we're releasing that soon. And I kind of agree what you're talking about with extreme cinema and shot on video. And it goes back to that, what I love about SOVs is it's batshit crazy. You can do anything in SOV because these guys didn't have producers breathing down their necks. They didn't have, people telling you can't do that. These guys were doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. And, we're all horror fans here. I mean, let's face it. What do horror fans, a lot of us like? We like the red stuff, we like the blood, the gore, the entrails, and all the squishy stuff. And we like disturbing content sometimes as well, So the SOV guys for sure were like pioneers in that type of movement, and I think a lot of people today obviously were probably really influenced by work of like Todd Sheets and the Polonia brothers and Andre Schnoss and people like that,
The Oldenbach, whatever his name is.
Oldenbach, yeah.
Yeah,
he's
Black
good.
Past and
Burning Moon.
Yeah, Burning Moon is classic.
That hell scene at the end of Burning Moon is legendary. Like,
I remember the first time I saw the trailer for that movie, The Burning Moon. I think I rented some other Dead Alive release, and I don't remember which one, maybe Mr. Ice Cream Man or something like that. And it had the trailer
I still need to see that
for the Burning Moon on it. And the trailer mainly features, the goriest scenes, including the hell scene parts. Yeah. And you're just like, I mean, at the time, as like a 12 or 13-year-old, it was like, I've never seen anything this crazy in my entire life, And then you see the movie and you go, oh, it's not as crazy as the trailer makes it out to be, but it's, and that's good editing. But yeah, it's still a cool movie. I dig that one too. It's a fun flick for sure.
Yeah, it really you could really just rewatch the end over and over again. But the whole movie is cool. There's a few cool kills. Sure. But once you get to that end, it's just like almost feels like you're watching a Gore mixtape because it's just a whole bunch of, it's just a hellscape.
Yeah.
When I'd say movies like that helped invent the Gore mixtape, I mean, that's why people started making those things was to share scenes like the hell scene from Burning Moon and, crazy scenes from like violent shit and stuff like that, because I know people have gotten way more obscure with stuff now. And they're like all in every German and Dutch and every Russian weird gore flick they can find now. But, back then that was kind of it, I definitely made some Gore mixtapes myself when I was a teenager for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I want to take some part from Satan's Storybook just because of the whole clown hell stuff,
That movie's so fun. It's so bonkers. That movie's a great example of people doing way too much cocaine.
I know. I saw a lot of references to cocaine and a lot of SOV. It's always so funny. Like it's
No, that's the 80s for you,
Yeah, true that. Yeah. No, true that. No, even I like all the anthologies. There's definitely a few like Satan's Place, the soap opera for hell. That one's like a great one. I'm trying to remember some other. I mean, we talked about Basement, but that's technically not SOV. You're saying, but yeah. Is there any other anthologies you can think of? I know there's a few. I know you come out with a few because you did a lot of segments for a lot of yours.
Yeah, I've done quite a few myself. Some of my other favorites, though, just anthologies, just off the top of my head, is what the fuck is it? Prince, Pieces of Darkness That one's great. I'm looking over here at some of my VHS.
Uh,
The Creature Realm movies, those were a lot of fun. Kevin Lindenmuth, I mean, that guy was like the king of 90s anthologies. That's pretty much mainly what he produced. And he did a lot of cool stuff with people like Ron Ford and Tim Ritter, Joe Sherlock, a lot of those types of guys. But yeah, I mean, the horror anthology is a staple, I mean, for me, the reason I did a lot of anthology work is I was, the first like real thing I did that was actually like released, that wasn't just something for me and my friends, is I directed a short for the movie High Eight. And long story short, they had 7 people and they wanted 8. And I, like the kid in the back of the class, hey guys, let me do one. And they're like, okay. And so, I got to make this short called The Tape, which is pretty much my love letter to shot on video movies. But as well, I try to put social commentary about modern horror fans, modern horror collectors. I mean, I try to put a little bit in there, but we shot primarily on DV, but some of that on High 8 as well, and that was a lot of fun, So that was kind of like the beginning. And after that, people just started hitting me up. Hey, Tony, can you direct a short for this? Hey, can you do this for this? And so I inadvertently started making, short films for people.
That's awesome. I want to see that. High 8. I think I've seen the cover like on Tubi or something.
Yeah, I think it's around. Wild Eye put it out. You can probably find it on Tubi, Amazon Prime. Cool. I'll be honest. My short, along with some of the other people's shorts, were tinkered with by producers.
Oh,
So I don't want to say much more than that. but the version of my short on there is not my director's cut. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard Wild Eye does that a lot. They're not usually happy with sometimes the cuts of Wild Eye, but
yeah.
I heard that with like Fang Bonner.
I was very happy though to be a part of that and to get my work out there. So I mean, I don't want to discourage the film or anyone involved with the film. I mean, I was very fortunate to be part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I just wish people could have seen my vision that I had, because long story short, there were some music changes and stuff like that just really changed the mood of my piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that though.
Yeah. Too bad.
So one of the ones I saw in this whole watching through, and I'm glad that I did, was Death Nurse. It's weird that it's like people are like, is it the same like Criminally Insane? Is that part of it? They're not. They're like not the same movie, but you see the movie like in there.
Credits.
I think it's just cheap editing. I think more than anything, it's just like I need to extend this out a little bit. Let's just make her have dreams over and over.
Nick Millard, aka Nick Phillips. I mean that guy is, I can't talk much about him because he's already threatened to sue me once. So.
Okay.
But he's quite the character, and his movies are definitely weird as shit. I'll say that. I mean, Death Nurse 1 and 2. And then some of his other movies, he did stuff that's not just S.o.v, stuff like Black Wedding and stuff like that. But he was quite a character, that guy. And I had some conversations with him, and, I'm guessing it's maybe because he was getting older that maybe he, I don't know. I probably shouldn't say much more. I don't want to get sued.
Yeah. We'll just fill in the blanks.
But his movies are definitely interesting. I would say this though, like honestly, his movies are good for if you want to, like, if you have a lot of beer. If you don't have a lot of beer, you probably want to skip them.
Yeah, they're not for everybody. I could definitely say that, but I think yeah, Death Nurse is worth a watch though.
I actually saw them when I had a lot to drink, and I don't remember them much. It was quite a while ago.
That's the best way to watch it.
Yep. I just remember a big lady. That's all I remember. Big lady with a butcher knife or something.
Yeah, and the acting's interesting for sure.
So
another one.
Oh, go
ahead.
You can go ahead. I was gonna say, back to the Polonia brothers. Splatter Farm was something that I saw way back in the day and owned a copy and sold it. Like I sold all my stuff, but that one I think is just really, really, really special because it's just got this weird vibe to it with that whole the grandma and the gardener, and you know, and you find out what's the deal with the corpses and stuff. I don't want to give that away because it's just a funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else from the Polonia brothers that you'd recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of most of their early work. I mean, even some of their newer stuff is pretty cool, but I prefer the early stuff as well. Some of my favorites are the Feeders movies, actually. Feeders 1 and 2. I absolutely love both of those movies.
Second one's a Christmas movie, right?
I watch Feeders 2 every Christmas. It's a family tradition in my house. And my whole family gets tortured with Feeders 2 every year. And
That's funny.
But yeah, big Polonia Brothers fan. I mean, those guys are a great example. I mean, those guys let nothing stop them from making movies. I think it's the movie. One of my favorite examples of that is, I think it's either Nightcrawlers or gosh, what's the other one? Sometimes I get these movies confused. You know, there's so many of them. But there's one, and in the opening, it's like a shower scene, you know, and you kind of see the silhouette of the shower, and it's implied it's supposed to be a woman showering. But then at one point they kind of show it, and it's obviously one of the brothers' legs, like literally being the body double for a fake woman because they didn't have a woman to be in the scene.
That's funny.
And I mean, that's the kind of shit I love about SOV so much. Is like, you know what? We don't have a girl to be in the movie. Fuck it. We're going to do it anyway. We'll find a way to make it work. I mean, and I did the same thing in one of my short films, Cannibal Vampire Cargo Hookers from Outer Space, the first one. I didn't have girls who would get naked in my movie. So I threw a wig on one of my good friends. I shot him from behind going like this, and people thought it was a girl having sex. I mean, and it totally worked. You know, no one was the wiser until I told them, "Oh, that's my buddy Matt," and they go, "Oh,
that's awesome."
But you know, it's the not giving up on your vision, no matter what it is. You know, and that's what I love about the Polonia brothers. Is even if, you know, those guys are so ambitious with their movies. I mean, how many SOV filmmakers are like, I'm going to make a space movie. I have no money, but I'm going to make a space movie. And this is before like real CGI and shit like that. You know, like this is real primitive technology. I mean, talk about balls to make a movie like that for a couple $100. I mean, it's amazing.
There was some visual effects, but
for sure, but
they were
very
interesting.
CG, yeah.
I love those, like, because I'm the kind of person that, like, I'm kind of picky about CGI. Sometimes I'm fine with it, especially early 2000s CGI. It's awful, but when it's that amateur looking, I love it. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like those. I think it's from like the Ugandan like remakes of like American films. They have like
I've seen them.
The CGI cut in. It's awesome.
Yeah, their Terminators are great. They're just they're really over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I used to work in visual effects, so you know, I'm kind of mixed on CGI myself. I mean, I've done that stuff for quite a few people's movies and stuff, but I'm proud to say I've never put CGI in any of my stuff. So
yeah, you
know, I get its place, but you know, for someone like me, I'm like kind of like you. I'm not a fan of it. You know, I'm not a big fan of it. I think
it
especially. I mean, like so I'll give you guys a great example. So like, you know, I used to work for a 3D conversion company, and we would convert all these big Hollywood movies to 3D. You know, and so like I worked on things like Transformers, Man of Steel, Spider-Man, a whole bunch of stuff like that. And like, for example, I remember in Man of Steel, like we're working on Man of Steel and we're getting in all the various plates for Man of Steel, and Superman's cape is like always fake. And I'm like, why the fuck can't they just put a cape on the actor? Like, you literally can't just buy a cape and put a fucking cape on the guy. I mean, you know, like they have to, you know, we'll just fix it in post. And that's Hollywood's attitude a lot of times. It's like, oh, we'll fix it in post. I can't tell you guys how many times I worked on documentary films put out by BBC that are supposed to be real movies, you know, real documentaries of nature. It's not real, guys. They put CG in there. They augment that stuff. Like it's entertainment, you know. And I personally, I believe in, like, you know, make it right the first time. You shouldn't have to fix it in post. I mean, obviously, maybe sometimes you should if it's really bad, go in and fix it. But you know,
I'm sure they CG the shit out of every game show, every reality show. I mean, just touching up people's makeup in post is just, people are very sloppy.
Taking out wrinkles. Yep.
You hear a lot about it from anyone that's like even PAs or like people have just had small parts on film sets, or just like they just see everything in post, like so lazy and just like.
I remember we were working on a Nicolas Cage movie, and you got the first shot, and then you get the revised shot where they painted out the wrinkles and gave him more hair and stuff like that. You know,
made him
really
taller.
see how fake these movies are. Yeah,
That's funny. That's what's kind of nice about like the SOV. I mean, you still can, because I remember one of the interviews you talk about something about them doing CGI roaches in it instead of using the body people instead. It's like, yeah, it'd be interesting.
yeah, the scavengers. Yeah,
yeah.
I used to joke around about my friend about how movies would just put like totally arbitrary objects in the background, like a toothbrush and a toothbrush holder. And call that the remastered version, even though all it was a CGI toothbrush got put in.
Sure. It was like that. What was that? The first big one was when they took out the guns in ET or something and gave them walkie-talkies. Like, like, come on, man, what are you doing?
So, a little bit of local history around where Christian and I live, Olympia, Washington, is.
Oh wow! I didn't know you guys were from Olympia. Okay,
Yeah.
I know some people out there. Cool.
So that's where Matt Jazel and Todd Scherzlin put together the Necrophile series, as well as the Faces of Gore interludes at the cemetery. Is like that's right in between where Christian and I live. Is that cemetery?
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, we're trying to get Todd on the show, but he's impossible to get a hold of nowadays. So if you got any leads on that, help me out.
You might be able to get Matt. I've been talking to Matt lately about some
Matt's
stuff.
Going to be on the show in a couple weeks, I think.
Nice, cool.
When his work permits it, so that'll be exciting. But yeah, what do you think about Necrophiles and those movies? Because that's another extreme horror film. And
I love Necrophiles.
The baby is great.
I think like most people, I saw the ad in Fangoria. They had a full page ad for Necrophiles with Faces of Gore, and I think it was like $30 or $40. Buy both videos for $40, and I remember ordering both videos, sending in the money mail order, and I never got my videos. I never got them, and like a lot of time goes by, probably like a year or so. And because this is still before internet was like in everyone's home and stuff, this is like you're doing mail order, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, but then when internet started to become a thing, I literally reached out to those guys and I said, hey, I ordered these a long time ago and I never got them. And they were so cool. They fucking sent them to me. Like, nice. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they ever got my money or what, you know what I mean? But like, they were cool enough to send me the movies, they could have thought, I don't know, if someone would have hit me up about that, I would maybe think they're full of shit. I don't know, Yeah. But they were cool. They sent me the movies, and I love Necrophiles. It's so much fun. I mean, when you first see that baby rise from the grave, you're sold from there on. I mean, it's such a fun movie, and even
just a zombie with a big dick, just the whole thing. Yeah.
And the premise, I mean, yeah, there's some schlocky parts in there, but I mean, as a hour and a half long movie, I mean, it's coherent and it's like
very well,
well edited, and the acting is really hammy, but it's perfect. Those actors that play the cops are great. I want to get into Necrophiles 2 real quick though. Did you watch that, Christian?
For sure.
I actually didn't get to see. I didn't see Necros 2.
That was like literally just a compilation of stuff that Todd Scherzlin was putting together for like a compilation for something different. It just featured the zombie, and it's like that's why it kind of has this like weird almost anthology or like, yeah. What is up with that movie? Was that Matt Jazel that did that, or?
I got like the German DVD of that from years ago. I haven't seen it in years, but I remember like originally, like when I first started watching that, like a girl's masturbating in the beginning and it's almost pornographic.
Yeah, the whole thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I remember just being like, wow, because that was one of the first times I saw that in a horror film as well. Like, oh wow, there's like full on, vagina in this movie. And I haven't seen it since in a long time though. I need to rewatch that one. It was a lot of fun.
I was disappointed. It kind of felt like a almost like a compilation of Beelzebub movies or something. It was just it didn't really have the story that the first one had. The cops show up for a little bit, but it is also interesting because there are more shots from our town in that movie, and a couple people I know are in that one. So it's just those movies are just classic
Did it have
And then
like
there's the
3
doll
hours
one,
slow
right?
motion?
They made a part 3, which is all dolls.
Let's see, yeah, puppets and dolls.
Yeah, he sent me a copy of that recently to check
Necrophiles
out.
3000, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
Necrophiles 3000. Yeah.
I haven't heard of that. I'll have to check that out.
Matt
Or not,
Jazel,
yeah.
Matt Jazel did a few video movies.
Mhm.
Most of them were, a few of them were shot in our town. He did Anti-Hero, which was a cop. Did you ever see that one? It was like, no, not cop, a superhero movie.
Superheroes, yeah, that's superheroes. Yeah.
Like kind of like a vigilante superhero kind of. But I mean, they're almost like an old Batman and Robin duo. They even have like so that one's kind of fun to watch them kind of acting like superheroes around our town. He did a couple before that I don't think they were shot on video. They were actually shot on film, like Legion of the Dead and
Legion of the Dead, yeah.
And which is cool. Have you ever seen that?
I've not seen Legion. I know of that one. Yeah, I need to see that. I need to remedy it.
It's like, I think he was inspired a little bit by Guyver. It was like, so he was trying to do this like almost putting in, cyberpunk elements into it and stuff.
Right.
It's a good one. I would check that out, but not
That's
SOV,
cool.
but yeah.
Yeah, another label that put out quite a bit was Massacre. Definitely like 555, Venus Flytrap. Like and Demon Queen was SOV too, right?
Demon Queen, yep. Donald Farmer's first movie. Yep.
Yeah. That's definitely some classic stuff. What are some good labels? And Intervision does some good releases.
Yeah, so I think the big one in the room we haven't mentioned yet would be Assault City Home Video, aka SRS Cinema, Ron Bonk's company.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's been putting out SOVs.
Sada Master, right? Yeah.
He's been putting out stuff since the 90s. I mean, he's put out so many movies, and I mean, he was the one who originally put out the Tim Ritter stuff. Gosh, he's put out so many movies. I start to get confused or something.
Right.
And he's still doing it today. And Ron Bonk is so cool, really nice guy. When I started SOV Horror, I was talking to Ron Bonk, and he gave me so much good advice, and it was just really cool. I mean, I can't thank Ron Bonk enough for what he did to kind of help me out when I was getting started. He put out some of our early releases on VHS and stuff as well. So, yeah, Intervision, like you said, that's another one. They put out some cool SOV stuff.
What about Warlock? Isn't that one?
Warlock. So yeah, we've released 6 of the Warlock movies.
What have they done?
Released 6 of those, and that was a company ran by Chris Seaver, and he started that in I think that was around 2010, and that was kind of like a throwback to SOV movies. So what he was doing was he was shooting new SOV movies, but giving them that 80s aesthetic, and those movies are a fucking blast. I mean, we put out the first 6 releases of theirs are on our label right now. You can get those at SOVHorror.com. I mean,
what are they
how can
called?
you go wrong with a movie like Death O' Lantern or The Dingleberries?
Yeah, I've seen Dingleberries. Dingleberries is funny.
I've seen the covers for those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some people would maybe say the covers are better than the movies, but personally, I love the movies. I think the movies are great. Not everyone
the Dingleberries
into
is
his
good.
type of humor. But I think Chris Seaver is a great filmmaker. I love his stuff. It's a lot of fun, those movies.
It's the critters with pieces of poop. Why can't you go wrong?
Yeah, exactly, right? Who doesn't love critters, and who can't get into talking space turds,
Yeah, I know for sure. Another good guy is Donald Farmer.
Donald Farmer, yep.
He's always good, like Cannibal Hookers, and The Savage Vengeance. It was just funny that Kamau Keaton, that was like her last film for a while. Like she didn't do anything for 17 years or something like that after doing that.
Savage Vengeance is great. Gosh, what a fun movie that is. And Donald Farmer actually acts in that and steals the show. He's so good in that one. Yeah. My favorite Donald Farmer movie, though, I heard is coming out on Vinegar Syndrome soon, which is Red Lips. Which stars Getty Chatham, who was in Garotica and Girl, and as well as Michelle Bauer, who's everyone knows Michelle Bauer, I think.
Yeah.
And, that one's really great. It's kind of like a lesbian vampire movie. It's really good. Probably, in my opinion, one of his best SOV movies for sure.
Yeah, no, like you mentioned some of the other ones, but Goregasm and Gore Horror, and I love all those. Those are so good.
Gallagher, yeah. Those are, people ask me sometimes who's my favorite director of shot on video movies, and I always say Hugh Gallagher.
Dead Silence isn't mentioned in much. Is that SOV or is?
Yes. So Dead Silence is SOV. You know, Dead Silence is one of those weird ones because that one was like super hard to find for years. And actually, I literally Dead Silence is the reason I started my company. Yeah. So it's really a funny story. I mean, the way I started my company was I was, you know, working on this documentary about shot on video horror films. And I was interviewing the director of Things, Jay Wolfel, who also did Demonicus, Demon Gladiator from Hell, Transfer 6, a whole bunch of stuff. Really cool guy. And I'm interviewing him. We're just kind of shooting the shit afterwards and, you know, just talking about stuff. And I mentioned like, oh yeah, I still like VHS and all that. And he's like, oh, well, I got some tapes, you know, if you maybe want some tapes, you know, can you transfer some of these for me? I was like, oh, sure. And so he gives me like a box of tapes, of old tapes. And on one of them, I see Dead Silence written on it. And at the time, like, I'm such a huge Hugh Gallagher fan. I'd heard of the movie, but I'd never seen it. You know, it wasn't out on DVD or anything like that. The VHS, I don't even know if it was released on VHS or really released well on VHS because I never saw a copy. And but this tape had Dead Silence on it. But right before Dead Silence was something called Metal Noir. And I'd never heard of Metal Noir before. So I'm like, oh, screw it. I'll watch Metal Noir before I watch Dead Silence. And lo and behold, Metal Noir, I fell in love with that movie. And that ended up being our first release because I watched Metal Noir and I said, oh my God, this movie's amazing. And I was just going to write a review on my website, you know, and I was trying to look up information. And I found I was never released. And I'm like, why is this movie never released? This is such an awesome movie. I mean, it's literally like Hellraiser meets Trick or Treat meets... you know, I don't know, crazy batshit SOV movie. I mean, it's such a cool movie. And, you know, Hugh Gallagher actually worked on that movie. So the director of Goregasm, Gore Horror, Goretica was the DP on the film. And
I've never even heard of Metal Noir before.
Yeah,
I mean to pick up. To be honest, there's a lot of yours I'm been meaning to get through. I just haven't gotten a.
And it was one of those, you know, it had just never really gotten a proper release. The company that had licensed it from the director actually like fell apart right after they licensed it. So it never got released. And so I hit up the director and was like, hey, you know, I really love the movie. I'd love to help get it out there. And so we put out his movie and that was our first release. That's SOV Horror #1. And since then I'm about to hit next month. Actually, not next month. The following month, I'll be releasing my 50th movie.
Oh, awesome.
So,
cool.
You know, so it all started literally with this movie right here, Metal Noir.
Wow,
and it's
awesome.
it's one of my favorite SOV movies. I recommend you guys check it out sometime. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And,
That's still for sale, or is that hard to find?
Yeah, it's for sale, SOVHorror.com.
Cool.
So most of our titles are still in print. Like I said, we've released almost 50 movies at this point. Some of them are out of print, and we've done a few secret releases. But overall, most of our catalog's in print. And yeah, SOVHorror.com. Buy some movies, folks.
When I saw today that was really good was Cards of Death.
Cards of Death.
That was so fucking good. I was trying to get Dean to watch that one. I liked it. The whole neon lights and added effects into it just was a nice little treat. Was there actually are there any like ones that you've tried to get and you haven't been able to be successful of getting the rights to, or?
Oh, a ton.
Yeah,
I literally, so I have a huge list of movies that I'd love to put out, and I've slowly been getting some of them. Some of them have been rejected. Some of them I can't find. You know, I don't want to, I'll be honest, I don't want to share titles at this point because it's really funny. Like when I started putting out these movies, you know, when I put out Metal Noir, there still wasn't many people putting out shot on video content, and a lot of people still didn't really care, you know, and since then, I mean, now we got companies like Vinegar Syndrome putting out SOV stuff. I mean,
yeah,
I feel SOV's bigger than it's ever been, like ever.
So you almost don't want to tell your secrets or say.
Oh yeah, I don't want to give away titles that I hope to get the rights to and put out, because I'll be honest, there is a lot of competition. I've literally had titles like I'm not going to say what they are, but I literally had a signed contract that I was about to email back to the director, and he said, "Don't send that back to me."
No,
because someone else scooped it up, and I lost 6 movies in that deal.
Damn.
So you know, so I mean, there's a lot of competition. That's not the only time that's happened to me either. So you know, there's a lot of people fighting to put out content right now, and to me, ultimately, I mean, I do it honestly. Like, I don't need to put these out. I have a good job, but I do this because I love these movies. I mean, for me with SOV, like I said, I kind of accidentally stepped into becoming a distributor. I mean, my second release was my movie, that I made.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, things started to fall into place. I looked at people, hey, are you interested in this? Oh, okay, wow, this is a good movie. Okay, sure, and then just kind of fell into place. But it's like, ultimately, to me, and why I even started the website and wanted to do the documentary is, I grew up watching these movies. All my friends thought I was fucking crazy. They said, Tony, these movies suck, but they inspired me to pick up a damn video camera. They inspired me to want to make movies. And I mean, I grew up very poor. My family didn't have nothing, single broken home. I never thought I'd be able to do anything in my life, but I saw these movies and I picked up a camera, man, and I started making stuff, and at one point in my life, I was doing nothing. I was in my 20s and my mom comes, it's like that, what are you going to do with your life moment? And she's like, I think you should go to college and study video. And so I listened to my mom, actually went to college, took out the loans, to study video. And next thing I know, I was working for, a studio that's working on major motion pictures. I was working on Transformers and Man of Steel and, stuff like that. And, it's like, so I started SOV Horror really as a way to just say thank you to these people who inspired me to follow my dreams. Because without the SOV guys, I mean, I think you guys probably get it. Like, when you grow up with nothing, you don't think you can achieve much. And when you see people achieving a lot out of nothing, which I think SOV kind of represents, then it was just so influential on someone like me. And I truly credit a lot of my life success to shot on video movies and the inspiration that they gave me, So it's all about paying it back to the community, honestly. And I mean, I have one rule at my company. And I've always stuck to it. I only put out movies I like. So if I don't like a movie, I'm not putting it out. I want to have integrity. I come from a music background. I used to play in punk rock bands and stuff. And to me, it's all about having integrity with what you do, Yeah. That's why we don't do limited releases. Almost all these companies, it's like, oh, we only do 200 or 300 copies. It's like, no, we want you to be able to buy our movies. We want you to see the movies. We want you to see them. I mean, I do some limited releases here and there, but that's more for like new indie stuff. And that's me trying to help out indie filmmakers.
Right.
But the stuff, everything else is not limited. We don't limit our product because I want people to see the movies. That's what it's about,
Yeah.
Sharing that love and sharing that passion with other people who are into this stuff.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, just the whole indie scene in general is what's kind of got me going and kept me going, and just being part of it, and just how easy it is to connect with a lot of these people. Like, once you're kind of like in the niche, because it's very tight, and then we're all very connected, and just comes, just basically just messaging them and to be like, hey, I'm a fan, just have some questions for you, and now it's just been really nice to be able to just pick up any time just kind of interviewing. I'm surprised of how many people I've had for interviews already. It's been really cool, to be honest.
For sure. It's amazing. Technology is amazing, right? You can just like, hey, I just saw this movie, and you can literally email the person the next day and say, I love your movie. Great job.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean,
yeah. And I like it. I like that for sure. I know some, older directors are kind of like not into the social side of it, but it's free promotion, it helps. And just anything to get your name out there. And I think there are a lot of them are caving in, but
well, it's hard when you're a creative mind, though. Like, if you're trying to make movies and stuff, then to also like spend your free time online, like plugged into that, like it takes your mind out of that creative space.
Another job.
So I think, and then if you're shooting movies on video, most likely you don't have social media person or even an editor or anything. So you're doing everything on your own. I don't think everyone has the endurance to keep up with social media. So
no, I'll be honest, guys. Like, for me, I'm a one-man business. I do everything myself. I encode the DVDs, I cut the trailers, I cut the making of documentaries. The only thing I don't do is the art, and sometimes I actually do the art, but typically I outsource the art to artists I work with. But and social media honestly is the hardest part for me. That's always the hardest part, because I'm some people are very good at promoting. I'm not a person who likes to brag. I'm not a person who likes to do that. But if you're going to be a capitalist and try to sell movies, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also hard in the indie horror, especially if you're going any graphic stuff. Of like Facebook just is really nice on banning everybody that shows too much gore, and just it's a real thing of like. And if you try to rely on that as your promotion, you're fucked if you get like a 3-day ban all the time, or it goes up, and it's like, well, how am I supposed to fucking work this way?
Well, just even algorithms. I mean, when Facebook, back in the day, we could post a direct link to buy our movie and people would see it. A direct link to a trailer and people would see it. And now now Facebook's like, oh, you got a link in there? No, we're not sharing that shit now. We want you to buy ads now, and we want you to, and
so where do you promote the most on social media? Instagram or something?
Literally just groups of Facebook. It's just me. I have luckily I've had some fans who have helped out a bit. So I got a guy who runs our unofficial Twitter, and I run my own Instagram. I run my own Facebook. I had a fan that was helping out with our Facebook for a while, and but yeah, social media is the toughest. And I'll be honest. I wish I didn't have to do social media at all. I got a feeling if I ever stop this company, I'm not going to be online anymore. No one's going to be able to find me because, that's a whole nother conversation.
No, I feel you. I deal with a lot of the social media, and it's just constantly, you're just like looking at stuff or reading into it. So I was like, I don't know. It's an ongoing thing.
There's a lot of fluff in there that can distract you from business. So
it's a lot of work. Yeah. I mean, you get, someone emails me. If someone takes the time to email me, I'm going to email them back no matter what they emailed me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to be nice.
Even if it's a hate mail.
Well, yeah, hate mail. I'll just say I'm sorry you didn't like the movie.
Do you get a lot of?
I haven't got really any hate mail.
I was about to say, have you got? You don't seem like someone that would have
really.
gotten a lot of flack.
No,
yeah.
I've had a few people say, "Oh, I picked up that movie and it sucked," and I said, "I'm sorry. I liked it."
I don't like S.o.v. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, movies are so subjective. It's art, So
true.
The humor is different. What people are looking for in movies is always different, So none of us are always going to 100% agree, But you can't win them all. But I'd like to think that everything I put out's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, I've only checked out a couple. I've been meaning to get into the catalog, but I want to get more into like the stuff that has your directing in it. So like what do you have any plugs? I know you usually have like a plug in all your SOVs episodes of any movies you want to promote that you're selling right now.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess I think tomorrow's the first. Yeah. Tomorrow we're dropping 2 new ones. We're dropping a movie called Return to Yucca Flats, Desert Man Beast, which is a batshit insane, crazy sequel to the movie Beast of Yucca Flats. If you guys know, that's an old 60s movie with Tor Johnson from Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Isn't that on one of the Mystery Science Theaters or something?
Yep, it sure was. Beast of Yucca Flats was an MST.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's pretty much like an unofficial sequel to that. And it's freaking hilarious, but maddening at the same time. This is the only movie I've ever seen in my life that broke me. And I had to release it. I'll just kind of, I guess if I could just go real quick. Long story short, there's a scene in this movie where there's like a rave, okay? And they're playing this beat. And this beat is like at almost an abnormal kind of tempo. And it goes on for a very long time. And at first you're just like, oh my God, this really hurts. Like, this is not good. But as time goes on, I found myself like cracking, and I literally started laughing maniacally, and I could not stop. Like I've never had a movie affect me that way, where it's like, for 2 seconds, I'm like, I hate this. And then the next minute, I'm like, this is the most hilarious thing I've seen in my entire life. And I've never had a movie make me feel that way. And so I was very happy to put out Desert Man Beast. And that comes with a special certificate of completion for watching the movie.
All right.
Inside the disc. Actually, I'll give you guys a quick preview.
Some of these movies will put you in a trance.
It does come with a certificate that you survived watching Desert Man Beast.
That's funny.
And this comes out.
I saw the cover. Okay. I think I was like saw it on your page. That's funny.
I'm sure
And
you'll
then we're
own that
also
soon.
putting out tomorrow is a limited release as well, which is a movie actually starring the same guy from Desert Man Beast, David C. Hayes, called Undone, which is more of a psychological kind of disturbing horror flick. It's pretty much about this guy who a pedophile child murderer killed his daughter, and his police officer friend gives him 24 hours with the killer. And so you can imagine what kind of things could have transpire in that 24-hour period. And yeah, people are more into like disturbing content and extreme content. That one's definitely for you guys.
What's that one called again?
Check it out.
It's called Undone.
Cool.
It's called Undone, and this is a limited release. It's on our sub-label Basement Videos, which primarily puts out like newer indie titles. But the cool thing about Basement Videos and a lot of our stuff is this is cheap as shit, guys. $6. $6.
Okay.
I make no money off of this. I literally put this out because I want people to see it, you know? And that's what it comes down to, you know, like I said, with all these movies, is like I'm only putting out stuff I like because, you know, when you're the only person who works on it, you got to really like a movie if you're going to work on it for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these movies I've worked on for over a year. You know, releases like Mr. Ice Cream Man were over a year. Mm-hmm. Misty Darkness, over a year. I mean, we spend a lot of time working on these closely with the filmmakers. I always transfer from the best. We go straight to the master prints. You know, we go to the labs, get them transferred. I mean, it's not cheap to do all this, but I always try to keep the prices down because I don't want to gouge the fans. I don't do any gimmicks like slip covers or any of that garbage. It's just all about, here's the movie, hopefully in a nice package you enjoy, you know, with as much extras as we can throw in there at the cheapest price we can give it to you. So,
yeah. Have you ever thought about taking the ones that are out of print and putting them on like a stream site?
So most of the stuff that's out of print, like I said, is kind of our more indie labels, and our deals have only been for a limited license.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
So, you know, I usually only license those for a 2-month period.
Oh, okay.
We have, though, brought those back. We just brought them back last October. I put them, all my out-of-print movies were available again for about a month. And so every so often, you know, because it's like I said, I don't, you know, I'm a fan first, and nothing sucks more than you really want a movie, but you can't get it because it's out of print. And now you got to go to eBay and pay $300 to get a copy, and you just want to watch the movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, you know, I try not to do stuff like that because I don't, you know, like I said, I'm a fan first, you know, but with the limited releases, like I said, a lot of that's more just to get like this indie type content out to fans and help spread the word of these filmmakers. That's why we charge like $6 for those ones, because it's like, it's really a promotional tool for them. You know?
Don't do any like exclusive rights or anything like that. Like you just sell a limited amount of copy, and then they can do whatever they want with their movie afterwards. Or do you have like ownership?
For the limited, yeah. I mean, I have all sorts of deals. I mean, some of our movies we have worldwide all rights for. Some movies we only have DVD rights. You know, some I have streaming, some I don't have streaming. And a lot of people have approached us about streaming, and you know, I've considered it. I mean, it goes against a little bit of what I feel I'm doing with this, because first and foremost, I mean, I'm a physical media dork, you know.
Yeah, I get that.
I like physically owning it, and you know, and streaming's cool and all, but streaming, you know, has really, I know it's helped out some artists, but at the same time, it's also made art a lot cheaper and has made it harder for any artist
to make money,
to make a living off of their art. I mean, you know, especially with streaming, it's very easy for people to bootleg from streaming.
Yeah, because there's ways.
And
maybe only stream to Europe, you know? Because it's so expensive to ship there.
You know, bootlegging is, I mean, even screwed up my company. I mean, I know my movies are on Cinemageddon, you know. I'll tell people right now, they're up there, but please come to my website and buy them from my website, you know?
Yeah.
I don't go to Cinemageddon, but I've been told from fans, you know, that my movies are, I was told one of my movies was like the movie of the week or something over there, you know? And it was literally a rip of the entire DVD, you know? And it sucks because I'm a small guy. I mean, I have to license these movies, and I'll be quite honest, guys, like typically I don't even make my money back on a lot of these, you know? I mean, I'm hoping year 3 will not be my last year. You know, I'm trying to keep this going. But when people bootleg our product and
it knocks it out,
it hurts us. You know, because it's not cheap to license these movies. People want to get paid, and I pay them.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I can't pay them as much as I wish I could, but I do pay. I don't. I know I hear a lot of people horror stories. They don't even get paid. If I could say one thing, actually, if there's any aspiring filmmakers who are listening to this, if I could give you one piece of advice, and I always like to share this piece of advice, is if you ever, sell your movie or license it to a company, whatever you do, get money up front. Don't ever do back end deals. Don't do any of that, because guess what? You ain't going to see nothing.
Okay.
I've done back end deals on some of my stuff. I've never seen a penny on that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's why I always pay everyone up front. It's like cash up front, and make sure everyone's happy and with the arrangement, because but support these companies you guys like too, because ultimately, like I said, even us, we're struggling, man. We're struggling. I literally almost closed my doors like January 1st. I was about to say, screw it, I'm closing it, because
yeah.
It's I've lost a lot of money doing this, but I do it because I love it. You gotta love it, and that's why we do it. And at the end of the day, I really just hope that I help these movies live on for future generations, and that people can discover things like Desert Man Beast, Undone, Mr. Ice Cream Man, Metal Nor, the Dingleberries, whatever it may be. Discover these movies and share them with other people, and keep these films alive, because ultimately if we don't keep these films alive, they're going to disappear, guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. And for sure. And I appreciate the people that are doing that, and they're like true collectors, and that share that know about this, because like VHS is such a there's a lot of VHSs that haven't been converted yet, and then people are like, and if it's never converted, it's literally lost forever, because no one gives two shits about VHS, at least when it comes to keeping it in circulation.
And we haven't even gone into like J video market, like the Japanese video market. There's so much.
I mean, because all the guinea pigs are.
And horror. They're and I would say they were the first ones in the 80s to take it to the extremes on SOV.
For sure.
So I mean,
guinea pig movies,
there's guinea pig, and then there's just
random
torture videos and stuff. So we just like every topic we do, we always have to do basically a Japanese episode too. So we'll probably do a Japanese SOV episode.
I know there's so many.
The 2 SOV episodes we're gonna do.
I mean, you could split it up and do a German one, a different thing, and
But I do think split it by regions. I mean, literally, Oklahoma has enough shot-on-video movies to talk about. Ohio has enough shot-on-video movies to talk about.
That's one thing we were just like, I mean, you might just have to split it up. And maybe our second SOV is when we do the interview with the guy from Necrophiles that directed that.
Really quick, we should do a lightning round. Just throw out a couple titles to Tony and to see what he thinks about it.
Yeah, because there was a couple that I didn't mention. And like a legend, like a classic, is definitely Sledgehammer. I feel like that's one of the ones that is mentioned in like top of everyone's list.
Yeah, what do you think about that one?
Sledgehammer is one of my favorites. I absolutely love that movie. I interviewed the killer, Doug Matley. I went to his house or to his boarding care place he was living in. And literally that was the inspiration for my film, The Tape, which is in High 8. He was kind of a weird guy. It was quite an interesting thing meeting him. But great movie, one of my favorites. Absolutely love that movie. Amazing soundtrack, great use of minimal locations, creepy killer. I mean, great movie. Love Sledgehammer.
All I remember from that movie is ultra slow-mo kills. Is that the right one?
Yeah. Everything is like super slow motion to pad out the movie, but it actually works.
And the whole ghost element, just where they just fade them out. So it's funny. That one's classic. One I've been meaning to get into, but it's another shot and sheets, is a Goblin. I can't find it for shit. I want to right now, but I want to watch it for sure.
Yeah, Goblin is so good. That's actually my favorite Todd Sheets, and it's funny because I've talked to Todd about it, and Todd hates that movie. I don't know if he hates it, but he's not a big fan of his early work.
That's what I heard.
He's went on to do a lot bigger stuff since then. But Goblin's one of my favorites. I mean, it's completely filled with the trademark Todd Sheets, real guts and gore, and there's some really sick kills in it. And
he uses butcher shop guts and stuff.
Yep.
Nice.
And
I
that's
love when
where
people do
that's
that.
what I was influenced too. I saw that
Yeah.
shit in Todd Sheets movie and in Dawn of the Dead, and you're like, when I started making movies, I'm like, no, we're going to the butcher shop. We're gonna buy the real stuff.
Yep. One I saw recently from 1989 that I actually enjoyed a lot, the McPherson tapes.
Yeah.
I have not seen that one,
Oh,
so I
really?
know of it, but I've never seen that one, so I can't really comment on it.
It's cool. Shudder just put it out, and my wife Presley and I watched it recently, and
Nice.
it's she thought it was pretty spooky actually because alien stuff gets to her.
Right.
When you actually see the alien reveal, it's pretty like Halloween costume, but
Sure.
the lead up into that is really good. Found footage, shot on video, really takes you back to that time, and like just they did a great job on it, on the tension that they build up, and then they they remade it for TV, which a lot of people have seen that version, and that one's not really as good, but it's
Okay.
TV version. So I would check that out. If you have Shudder, it's pretty easy to find now. Shudder's put out a few SOV things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won the Joe Bob Silver Bolo Award for SOV Horror when they did Sledgehammer on Joe Bob's Drive-In. So
Oh, nice.
that was really cool. Yeah, on
Nice.
Shudder.
Cool.
Big one to mention, Brian Pollan. I mean, he's done quite a bit of stuff in the SOV, which is I think he's a big part. But he kind of last shot on camcorder was Reap of Evil. Right, I think that was the last one. It was technically VHS camcorder, but then everything else went DV. But
What was it called?
Yeah,
Brian Pollan in general, like he did Blood Pigs.
Yeah, but what was the last one you said that was on?
Oh, Reap of Evil.
Oh, Reap.
That was the last one he did as on VHS
I don't know
camcorder.
that one.
Oh, I've never heard
It
of
was,
it.
yeah, it was one of the ones that didn't get as much of a release. But that one's really cool.
Is Piper trying to be on the podcast?
Yeah, she is. And then Marcus Cook, he has quite a bit of like his early stuff, his shorts. I want to check out White Massacre and Lunch Meat, but haven't gotten around to those yet. But
Lunch Meat is not. That's film.
oh, is it? Okay, but Bad Blood is
Marcus Coke, yeah. So Bad Blood is Marcus Coke, and that's video. Bad Blood's
Okay.
pretty cool. It's actually a really ambitious vampire flick.
okay.
My favorite Marcus Coke though is probably Rot. Rot is
Rot's great. Yeah.
Rot is so much
That's
fun.
a great movie.
Yeah, we did a movie screening with him, or we had him on, and we just did like a whole thing and shot the shit. It was
Nice,
Joel was
cool.
supposed to be on, but Joel couldn't figure out the Discord, so unfortunately Joel didn't make it.
Oh,
So we just
gotcha.
ended up talking with Marcus the whole time. But yeah, it was pretty funny. That was one of the ones I wish I recorded because he was definitely drunk and talking some shit, and it was funny.
I thought we did. Didn't we record that?
And I don't think we did record Rot. That was one of the ones that we missed.
I
But
think I
whatever.
might have it. I don't know.
Well, if you do, yeah, send it to me.
How about I saw that you like this movie and I love it too. Las Vegas Bloodbath,
Oh my god, one of my favorites.
another extreme horror.
That's one of those ones though that still kind of got a bum rap because most people have only seen that DVD print that was put out by Pendulum Pictures, which is a work print of the movie. And the actual complete version of that movie you can only get on VHS, which is the Dead Alive VHS of that, and that's the complete. So a lot of people, they go, oh, there's like the 30-minute long scene of the girls playing cards. If you watch the VHS version, it's not 30 minutes; it's like 3 minutes. So that's kind of one of those. I just wanted to preface that because some people go, oh, that movie's a total pile of shit, and I go, well, because you've watched the DVD version, right? You haven't seen the VHS version.
Do you know what the runtime on the VHS version is?
Oh, let me see. I have it right here.
Because right here I have an hour 18 minutes on the one I saw.
Let me grab it real quick.
Have you seen that one, Christian?
Which one
Talk
again?
about a terrible cover too, right?
No, that was the
Yeah,
one I was gonna get around to, and I didn't get to.
It says 89 minutes. I don't know if that's right or not. You guys know how VHS boxes are. They're not always right with the run times, but
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's just this like psycho killer that cut off his wife's head, and he's just bringing it around Las Vegas and like talking to it like it's still alive, and he's just
so good.
killing all these prostitutes, and but he's bringing the head in having his wife talk to all the prostitutes while he's doing it. It's freaking ridiculous. The best scene is at the bar when he slams the head down. He's like, "I'll have a drink for the lady."
Bring this bitch one too.
Yeah, that's what he says. It is very impactful. Great movie.
Yeah, people can find that VHS because I don't know if you've seen that version, but that version actually has more gore in it too. So I definitely recommend. Unfortunately, that's one of those ones, I'll go out and say, because I know everyone's tried to put out this movie. Like I've been trying to get the rights to this one for a long time. I was friends with the special effects artist, and I've interviewed him numerous times, and he's since fallen off the face of the earth. But he was a weird guy. He literally believed he was Jesus and Satan at the same time. I'm not even shitting you. This guy was a weirdo. I've had interviews on my website, SOVHorror.com. If anyone's interested in reading the interviews with him, they're up there.
Oh,
I'll check it out.
Yeah. But it's such a weird movie, and I saw recently that people are claiming it's public domain, and some companies have released it claiming it's public domain, but it's not public domain. It's copywritten, and it's one of my dream titles. I'd love to put it out with both versions of the movie and stuff. Would be so cool, because it's such a fun movie.
That would be cool. A little pack and with a few bonus features with some of the
for sure
stuff that you know about it that we don't know about it yet. That'd be cool.
Well, the main star guy, the Ari Lehman, or what's it, Ari something like that. Ari Levin. Yeah, he was a magician in Las Vegas. So, and I got in contact with him at one point, and we talked for a little while, and I was almost going to drive to Vegas just to see him and get my VHS signed at his magic show.
Yeah,
since then, you can't get a hold of him on Facebook anymore. I think people started bothering him on Facebook, and he jumped off or something.
Yeah. How about the WNUF Halloween special from 2013? Was that shot all on VHS?
No, so that was actually, I believe, I'm actually good friends with Chris LaMartina as well. He's came down to my house a few times. We've hung out and stuff, and really cool guy, him and his wife. I love both of them. Great people. We actually put out his first movie, Amerikill, that he made when he was 15 years old. You can get that at SOVHorror.com.
Yeah, I saw that.
Great movie. It's a slasher movie. It's like a 15-year-old making Scream, but like with punk rock sensibilities. It's really fun. It's really cool. And it's super impressive. You could see how he went on to make things like WNUF, Call Girl Cthulhu, and all the other great films he's made since then. But I believe WNUF, I could be wrong, but I believe he told me that most of that was shot on either HD or mini DV, and they did the running it through the VCRs trick. So they, ran it through the VCR a few different times to degrade the footage to give it that kind of old school VHS look.
Okay. Yeah, look.
Which I think is kind of now the new standard that a lot of people are doing now. It's just degrading this, their footage. They just run it through the VCRs now.
Have you heard about Jonathan Doe's Degenerates?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, that was totally all shot on VHS and edited on VHS, and according to
it was digitalized. They took the thing and then digitalized and then put it on the VHS and then fourth generation.
They degraded it on the VCR.
Yeah. Another good one. It's Tapes of Karma, or Tape of Karma. Have you heard of that one? Yeah,
that's the Alex Chilin one. I mainly remember, what's that other one he made? Tape of Karma. Sorry, I'm getting that mixed up with Bad Karma. Sorry, Tape of Karma, Michael Bellamy. Yeah. Michael, we actually released that in our movie once again. Let's keep plugging my shit here. I was a teenage gorehound.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's on that. Okay. So
this features Tape of Karma's in this, as well as other shorts by teenage filmmakers, Ben Gaudet.
I have the VHS that Gore's production put out.
Nice. Okay. Gage Black and Michael Bellamy, great talent. I mean, talk about someone who just made a movie all by himself. I mean, played every character in the movie.
Yeah, he's on our Discord and pretty heavily. I want to interview him and kind of get him into, because he's they are active. So
very talented guy and great person. I was very excited that he let us put that in this compilation.
Yeah, one I was surprised that didn't do more getting to Patrick Fonte. Apparently, only Park Street Diary was SOV. That was the only one. But I figured some of his early stuff would. Are you familiar with Patrick Fonte?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. We almost put out some of his stuff early on. Yeah, I've talked to him. He's a cool dude, nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, no, really cool stuff. Yeah, I like what like other stuff that he puts out for sure. Even his mixtapes are crazy. Like,
I haven't seen his mixtapes, but
oh, they're insane. It's like the music that he chooses is just freaking awesome. I'm a big fan of like power violence, like grindcore type stuff, and it's just raunchy ass music. I love it. So
for sure,
it's definitely good stuff. Yeah. Is there any? So I actually had a question. Is there any SOV that you don't recommend to people?
So there's plenty of them that aren't good, and one thing though I hate to do is discourage anyone's work or anyone.
Oh, I get that, but you're just like those ones who are just like, personally.
We kind of mentioned the Nick Millard stuff like Death Nurse earlier. I mean, that stuff's good with some beers, but there's not much rewatch value to stuff like that, in my opinion.
It's to get a laugh in.
It's tough because, like I said, I really hate to put down anyone's work, because at the end of the day, no matter if I liked it or not, someone put their heart and soul into making that. So, but there's definitely, to me, the SOV movies that suck are the ones that are made for money. Typically, they're the ones that you can tell they're only making it because they want to make a quick buck. They don't care about making a good product, and I think that's even going on today with the indie film scene. I think that's part of the problem with the indie film scene right now is, I mean, I get a ton of people sending me movies constantly like, hey, can you watch this? Can you watch this? Can you put this out? And, I just see so many movies. I'm like, if you just spent another hour editing your movie, it'd be so much better,
Yeah, speaking of Bill Z. Bub, with like some of his 3 hour slow motion stuff, I'm like, God damn it, man.
Some of his stuff, almost has you. You're almost like, okay, I'm kind of into this. But then once you're in an hour and a half of it, you're like, oh my God, I can't watch it.
It's the same exact scene of the girl just slowly taking her clothes off. I'm like, can you
right up on a cross? Yeah, I mean.
Some of these movies just make you feel like you're tripping out. Like,
sure,
because scenes will just go on for so long, and like we were talking about Quadad Zone, like the music that they use is almost alien sounding, like the vocals and stuff, and like the visual effects they use with the green screen to show the ghosts and stuff. It's just so trippy. So I don't know.
Even back then, though, people got to think of the time that was produced, and it's like at the time that was still pretty. I wouldn't say state of the art, but it was still pretty novel to be able to do stuff like that, So, I think sometimes you have to judge these movies as part of their time period, like some people go now with 2020 eyes and they watch these old movies and go, oh, this is shit. I can make this with my phone, but, you got to watch them sometimes through those 1980s lens or whenever the film was produced. And, I love Quadad Zone. I mean, to me, one thing that comes up a lot is people say, oh, that's a shit movie. It's a bad movie. And I always say, I work for Riff Tracks, and we're known for riffing bad movies. It's what, Riff Tracks does. But it's really funny because, like, most of the movies we do at Riff Tracks, I'm a fan of the movies. And a lot of people laugh at me there because they go, oh, you like this one, Tony? And I go, yeah, actually, I really do like this movie. And I've recommended SOVs. I mean, we did the Feeders movies on my recommendation. And but the thing is, I always say, the only way you make a bad movie is if you make a boring movie. If you make a movie that just is not engaging. But at the end of the day, like, you can have terrible production values, you can have terrible acting, bad special effects, but if you've entertained me for the runtime, then you did your purpose. I had a good time with your movie. It's when your movie, like, you want to blow your brains out because you just can't watch it anymore. I know one of you guys was watching a Heavy Metal Massacre.
Yeah, that one was.
you know, Heavy Metal Massacre, that's a tough movie to get
I
through,
would be
man.
honest, I was trying to. I kept like wandering off and like, I'm just gonna go downstairs for
So to me, I guess that would be an example of that's a bad movie. That's
Yeah.
a movie that obviously
I kind of expected that, but I was like, I was like, I have to get into a bad one just to see, like, you know,
Sure.
for the whole spectrum of
A lot of the slow parts I've noticed are detective work in these movies. A lot of detective work. And it drags on, and they always find two old guys that just talk in a homemade office. And
in that most bad horror movies, yeah. Get into the police procedural part of the film.
And they just
and
turn their
some
garage
get
into a
better.
police station.
Like Violent Shit, for instance, we're talking about that. Like the first one compared to the third one, like they're just so much better. You know, it just gets like on. Yeah, like I meant to go get watch Sadomaster, but I heard it was like similar to the third one of Violent Shit with like a lot of samurai and weird, you know,
right,
ninjas somehow thrown into the fucking mix. And like,
yeah, he really got weird with those movies.
That's kind of what Matt Jazel does too. He puts ninjas in everything now.
Yeah.
After Necrophiles, yeah, and that's another one. Necrophiles, you can't call that a bad movie because it's so entertaining.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you know, but some people would maybe try to call that a bad movie because of the acting's not great, or maybe
aesthetically.
You know, I saw the camera shake, or I saw a boom mic or something, and it's like, well, you know.
Yeah, I could see why it could be aesthetically bad for some people, but
at the end of the day, were you entertained? And if you're entertained, then I think the film did its purpose. You know, even if it was entertained for the wrong reasons. I mean, sometimes people are entertained for the wrong reasons. Right?
Yeah. You brought up Things really quick, but that's another good classic. I was reading up on Little Things. Apparently, the nude lady in the opening scene was actually a prostitute, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, so you're talking about the Barry Gillis Things. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's two movies called Things, so people get confused sometimes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm talking about the SOV, obviously, the Things, like the...
Well, no, actually, the Barry Gillis one is primarily shot on 8mm film, so that's primarily a film. That's another one.
Oh, okay.
Unjust.
Oh, the one that's like, yeah, okay, that's good to know.
So I believe some of the segments are video, but not all of it, though.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's those ones that like were part of the movie was shot on video, and then other parts where it's like hard to classify. You know, it's like, well, do I call it SOVs? It's like they're art parts. You know, it's like.
Well, yeah, and you got movies that use multiple mediums. You know, so yeah, are using video, film. You know, stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
Should we close the show?
I don't think if there's anything else. Yeah, because there's something. I mean, unless there's any other quick recommendations you want to throw out that we didn't bring on or we didn't talk about, or you think
I mean, I guess just to be shameless again, I'll just plug my company, SOV.com, and I guess I'll mention some of my favorite titles. I mean, I love them all. Like I said, I only put out movies I love, but if you're like new to the company and you just want to check out what we got, first I just recommend we have a DVD. It's called Trailer-orama. It's like an hour of trailers. So like, I personally love trailer reels. They're fun to throw on at parties or whatever, you know.
Mad Ron's
gives you a nice glimpse into the catalog, you know, for people who just want a cheap dip in a catalog. I think it's $6 on our website. Cool. But some of my favorites that we've put out, Metal Noir is a great movie. Another one, Writer's Block, Truth or Dare Part 2, the fake Truth or Dare sequel. Spirit Gallery is another great one. Variant, Joe Meredith's Variant. Any of the work from Joe Sherlock, so Monster in the Garage, Zombie Love Slave. I mean, there's so many great ones. Amerikill from Chris LaMartino did WNUF Halloween special.
I want to see
those. Yeah, I mean, The Crawling Brain is another favorite of mine. We just put that out recently. And like I said, we got the Todd Sheets one coming out in March. So that should be coming out in March. And I know you guys seem like gore hounds. So like, that one's definitely probably up your guys' alley as well. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
No, I appreciate that.
Well, thanks for coming on and thanks for doing our first video show.
For sure.
I think it turned out pretty well. And we'd love to have you on for some more shot on video stuff, or maybe even
and we even do like screenings if you want to do like a whole thing, like a commentary over and do a live commentary right down. If you're interested.
Cool. Yeah. Anytime you guys want me to join on, or if you guys want to screen any of our movies, yeah, just hit me up. We'll talk and we'll figure it out for sure.
Cool.
And
it'll be like another riff trip.
I'll put in the corner a way that you guys can just screenshot and add to Discord. We have like a code, but if you ever want to come onto our Discord and promote your stuff, we have a promotion area, and we can even start, our own text channel for you.
Oh wow, cool!
So
Thank you so much. Yeah,
can talk about your stuff too. So.
Yeah, any help is appreciated, guys. Like I said, small one company, so any help is appreciated.
Yeah, we have a whole SOV channel, and there's definitely like a lot of people bringing you up, and a lot of your films get
cool.
brought up for sure. So, yeah, a lot of people are stoked to hear that you're on the first episode, so for season 2. So we're stoked on that. So get that going.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate you giving me the time.
Thank you.
It's been a blast chatting, and like I said, anytime, guys, feel free to hit me up.
Cool. Yeah, appreciate that.
Sounds cool. Good. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. That was a lot of fun. It was really nice to talk to Tony. He had a lot to say, and he's such a legend. I didn't really realize how much he had been doing until I look at his IMDb, and I was like, holy shit. He's done a lot. He's definitely
done a lot of industry stuff too.
Yeah, so it's good to see, because he's been on either side. He knows the indie side. He knows the big Hollywood side. He knows, so he could definitely be somebody that truly speaks for cinema. So it was a good talk for sure.
And he's super nice. So it'd be cool to work with him again. Hopefully we can get him on the live stream, or we could just do another SOV. Because like I said, we have a lot to cover, and there's a lot that I didn't get a chance to even watch yet.
Yeah, especially stuff on his catalog. Unfortunately, like I'd only seen a couple on his catalog, and I want to actually go back and be like, okay, now that you're back and I've seen all your stuff, we can talk more. For sure.
And then, of course, if we get a chance, we can do a Japanese shot on video. Even though we've talked about a lot of like the all night longs and guinea pigs so much already.
We might. I think I'd rather do a category 3 episode, if anything.
Yeah, we have a lot of category 3 stuff. We haven't. I don't even think we brought up the term Ebola or the movie Ebola.
No, we have some stuff to talk. I'd rather do that first, and we can do this at another SOV like months down the road. So. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is our first proper YouTube video, but we're gonna try to keep doing this. Let's see here. Join our Discord.
Even if people, I was gonna say, even if people, if the directors or whoever we're interviewing doesn't want to, you'll still see our face.
Yeah. Yep. We'll just like put a picture of their movie or something. But yeah, I'll put a link to our Discord in the corner, and just I guess take a picture of it, and it'll send you a link. And you can show up there, see what we're up to. We have a podcast that's going to have even more stuff on it than what you see here on our YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple. We do it through Anchor, so that goes out to like all the platforms. So wherever you can subscribe, please like maybe give us some reviews or ratings too. Would be cool. We're trying to boost this not just as a show, but as a community. And we're trying to just unite all the extreme horror fans together, and all the indie horror fans, underground horror fans, extreme music fans, extreme video game lovers, just people on the fringe that have nowhere else to talk about this kind of subject matter. Because, you can't talk about it on Facebook, or everyone in your family, your boss is going to see you talking about Human Centipede being better than a Serbian film. Could lose your job. So, so... yeah, join us on our Discord if you want, or we got a Facebook group. What else do we got, Christian?
Oh, we got everything now. I mean, I technically have a Twitter. I mean, I'm fairly active on it. I recycle the same posts, but so it's basically whatever platform you're on, you'll see our post there.
Yeah, we'll have a link to our Patreon soon. It's up, but it's not like linked up.
Yeah, we want to figure out, and any suggestions, we're open to it. We kind of want to figure out the tiers and seeing how we can make it fair for everybody, but also giving you something that's worth paying for, be it working on merchandise, working on like packagings. And I thought about sending out some out of print, like mystery box type stuff. And,
yeah, we have a lot of stuff that we could be doing giveaways and stuff for, because we've been collecting so hard over the years, and I don't know, there's just a lot of perks and stuff, and then also a lot of stuff that has to do with our Discord, along with video content of a lot of like the screenings and stuff we're doing. Is going to be re-edited and repackaged to something that you could rewatch and listen to and stuff. So I mean, that's all with permission of the filmmakers, of course, but hopefully we can be getting you guys some commentary / footage / live screenings.
Yeah, we might even add, depending on who it is, we might add to the content and kind of add secondary interviews or return interviews, and because a lot of the people I've become pretty connected with, and especially like people like Daniel Valiant and Jonathan Doe and Sam Hell, and these are people I can talk to pretty regularly. So
yeah. And yeah, it's crazy. Our first episode that we recorded was April 30th of 2021. So it's almost been a year of QVC, and it's insane to see how much we've grown this. So this is our first YouTube, but if you go and check out Spotify, check out our Discord, like we've been doing stuff for a while, and the community's huge and everybody's really awesome.
So about like 18 episodes or something that we've done technically, but you can count of our screenings and stuff. So
yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of content there now. So for everyone just checking us out on YouTube, go ahead and check us out. You can add us on socials. I also started a new sideshow. It's called Horror Corridor. It's going to be extreme music, horrorcore music, underground music, just any kind of music that like is fringe and messed up. A lot of horrorcore because that's what I'm into, but I really want
we might get into some power violence, maybe talk to some people that maybe are still in the scene, and
or gore grind, or like anything that's like, nasty, has like aesthetic.
Piss grave or
So if you have recommendations for people you want to see on Horror Corridor, let us know. We have a few awesome guests in the future for that, but also Quality Violent Cinema. We out, I think. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, thanks again.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.